Toffee caramel recipe. Why toffee? Because this is another type of caramel. The caramel flavor comes from cooking milk solids, not sugar. That is why the flavor is more delicate and creamy and the texture is chewy. Using evaporated milk also contributes to the flavor, because that milk is already reduced. Nearly 60% of its water has evaporated, giving us nutty notes. It also has fewer calories than cream. In general, this toffee-style caramel has fewer calories than standard caramel, because the fat content is much lower. Before we start the recipe, prepare the frame for the toffee. I prefer to use equipment that I already have rather than buying more. This is a tart ring that I normally use for my tarts. It is shallow, so I can easily control the thickness of the bars. The shape is also convenient. A rectangle is easier to cut into bars. The size of this one is 26 by 10 centimeters, which is 10 by 3.9 inches. Alternatively, you can use a 16 by 16 centimeters square tart ring, which is 6.3 by 6.3 inches. The only inconvenience of using particular tart ring is the perforation. The perforation that helps us create a perfect tart shell in other recipes traps the caramel here, so you will need to cut the caramel around the edges with a knife to release it. If you have a non-perforated tart ring, use that one and spray the sides with oil. If you're going to use a perforated ring, line it with thin strips of baking paper and spray with oil. I'm also going to test a silicone mold, and I will show you that at the end of the video. Add a layer of nuts of your choice. Use toasted nuts because they have more flavor. Crush them if they are too big. The idea is to leave some space between the nuts so they can stick to the toffee. Just like this. Now let's go through the ingredients. Sugar, regular sugar, no need for extra fine. Evaporated milk, some heavy cream, around 33 to 35% fat. Glucose syrup. This ingredient is essential for producing smooth, creamy texture in homemade confections. It also prevents crystallization. Some butter and a small pinch of salt flakes. The method is simple. Combine sugar, evaporated milk and cream in a large or tall saucepan. This mixture is going to increase nearly 5 times while boiling, so be careful. Bring it to a boil. Once it boils and the sugar is dissolved, add the glucose syrup and cook to 100 degrees Celsius to 130 degrees Fahrenheit. Add the butter and continue cooking to 115 degrees Celsius to 139 degrees Fahrenheit. If you cook it to the higher temperature, the toffee would be much stiffer. If you cook it less, it would be more soft. Add the salt and mix it in. If you will see some particles in your toffee like this one, don't worry, that's absolutely fine. It's just some of the milk solids caramelized a bit more, but it's not burnt, it's fine. Pour into your frame. Let it fully set at room temperature, or if you have a wine fridge, use it. Ideally, let it sit for 12 hours. Once set, release it from the frame and cut into your desired shape. I'm using a ruler to measure my bars so they are the same size. You can also cut the slab into squares and have bite-sized treats. Depending on what you're going to make, you will need the same size base under the toffee. I'm going to use a shortcrust base, and I will cut the bases using the same ruler, so I do not need to measure each bar individually. It's just quicker. The link to the shortcrust tutorial is on the screen and in the description. You can also use any other base of your choice. Fully bake it before assembling. It's better to make them a bit larger because they're going to bake and they will shrink. And if it's too large, we can always use the zester and we can trim the sides. My shortcrust is baked, and because I was using a ruler as a knife, some of my sides is just not perfect. That's why it's very convenient to use a zester and just make sides straight. Also, if your base is a bit too large, you can trim it to required size. It's much more convenient than trying to do that with a knife, because when you cut with a knife, it might crack and break the base. Now prepare the toffee and nuts layer on top of the shortcrust and just lightly press. Optionally, you can make a small bite-sized treats. Same idea, use your ruler and assemble. For coating, you have two options: tempered chocolate or chocolate glaze. With the tempered chocolate, you will get a firm shell and a nice snap when you break the bar. Or you can use the chocolate glaze I used for wagon wheels. The link is on your screen now. It is softer and gives you a thinner glaze. You can also use a regular home fan to blow off the excess glaze. It can also help promote dripping if the glaze sets too soon and you get lumps on the sides. Just one tip when you're working with the toffee: if your toffee becomes too hard, you can gently microwave it until it softens. And of course, if you warm it enough, you can use it as a drizzling caramel sauce over ice cream, waffles, pancakes, and so on. And I have tried using the silicone mold, so the main question is, would I be able to unmold it? And it seems like yes. The sides more even, and we don't have any crushed nuts because we were not using knife, and it sets more neat. I prepared here my white chocolate coating. It's much thinner, and now I'm going to glaze these bars. You can also dip these bars into white chocolate glaze, but I think it's more efficient and quicker if you just pour on top. And you will need to tap it to remove excess coating. Let it fully set, usually about 30 minutes to 1 hour at room temperature. The next one I'm going to cover with a tempered milk chocolate.